Hey everybody, it's Paul McFarland here with the Chiat Day Binder, day 11. There's a lot to go here. And if you're watching the whole series, you already know this, but in case this is a first-time viewer, this is talking about what I believe the best thinking in advertising has ever been. But this is not sentimentality. This is not, kids, today's music's no good. We were kids, that was bad. It's not sentimentality. This is learning lessons of undying, eternal, evergreen truths that we should be applying to everything we're doing every day, which I do too, in all media, metaverse, whatever. Okay. Today, it's going to be relatively short compared to some of the others, but it's going to be talking about a campaign I liked very much in a lot of different manifestations over the years that they had the business, Mitsubishi televisions. Now, if you try to find this work, it's really hard because there's a car company, Mitsubishi, and good luck finding the videos. But Mitsubishi, the first thing I'm going to show you here they did, it was out of the New York office, and this was in 1986. It was Mitsubishi Electric New York, and it was a really interesting visual kind of thing, kind of an institutional ad that shows a slice of apple pie with chopsticks. So, what the copy said, you had the last line, sayonara, y'all. This was during a time, even in the mid-'80s, when there was a very uneasy relationship between American brands, American business, and from the Far East, Asia, Japan especially. Japanese cars, by the middle of the 80s, started becoming a Toyota. It was like the number one trusted brand for cars because American cars were not reliable and they hadn't caught up yet. All those things were happening at this time. How do you deal with it? Well, Chiat Day, in a very, very bold way, took as American as apple pie and added chopsticks. An inherently offensive image because it is truly disruptive, eating apple pie with chopsticks. Come on. So obviously the image was there, like a good George Lois magazine cover to potentially offend and intrigue and get someone to read it. And it worked. I wish I had a reprint of this better than this little copy. But it's from Adweek, April 25th, 1986. So you go on from there, and it didn't take long before anything Mitsubishi was done by New York and then L.A., because L.A., Hollywood, movies, TV, you get where this is going. Mitsubishi also had the first Jumbotron kind of contracts in the ball stadiums, for the big screens. And so with a big logo, Mitsubishi, the three little diamonds, that's what that means, by the way, if you know how to count in Japanese. The brand, by its own presence in the stadiums, was telling people that's the big Mitsubishi screen, so it was a natural in for the home market. I remember, folks, this was still cathode ray tubes in homes. That means you had a big screen, and the back of the TV was probably 4 feet long at some point. You couldn't put these right up against the wall, and they got hot and everything. But the idea of how could you make a television screen, make a more lifelike picture, and get it large? Well, Chiat Day, in its command of media opportunities, did things like this, where they would do double-page spreads 4 in a row. They would actually take part of the image and make it into an ad, as if you couldn't quite fit the whole image in there, making the point. It says, building history's first 35-inch conventional tube TV was hard enough. Finding a magazine big enough to see it was impossible. That's even playing one medium against another. Very California, We've got a TV set. We're trying to show you how big it is, but the magazine can't even hold it, and even the newspaper can't. The next spread set, it presents an image 86% larger than a 25-inch. You know, it's interesting how you play with numbers to make a point about numbers. You've seen television this good before, but never this big before. Just a couple lines of copy after that, Mitsubishi. It's all about the picture. Yeah. So then they did the thing that was also seen. It says, building history's first 35-inch conventional tube TV was hard enough. Finding a newspaper big enough to show it was impossible. And it was a double-page spread in USA Today and all that with a tape measure going across it, and the tape measure wouldn't even fit. It's making the simple point of how big this thing is for people who couldn't imagine it. And they're not at home. They're at work reading a newspaper, the Wall Street Journal or USA Today. They open it up, it's like, wow, this is a TV screen bigger than that. I think I want this, right? So then they kept on going with it. They did that TV spot where it's the scene from Jaws, the beginning of the woman swimming under the water in the first boom, 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 boom. But it's only taking up a small corner of the screen. And a tiny little sound, boom, 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 boom. And if you're not watching, movies on Mitsubishi, but you're not getting the whole picture. Dum, 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 And it's always been tricky. How do you make a television, the quality of a television picture or sound, work in a TV commercial when they're not using your product? Like I remember even as a kid, they'd say, what was the one with John Huston for RCA, whatever, and he'd said, the chips are red, the holster black, the table green. It's my best John Huston. And it's like, well, if they don't look right to you on your TV set, it was just implying that TV sets had a lot of place to go. So Mitsubishi was owning large. And you make that point of how big it is, then that kind of medium over and over again, and you get the idea. But then my favorite campaign really was when they went into the experience of a real lover of the cinema. And they did these ads with different directors like Jim Henson, and one of my favorites here, this picture, Bob Fosse, Fine Tuned. They had one, Billy Wilder on TV. No, I'm sorry, Getting Wilder on television with these great, I think the Norm Seif pictures. I think they look everything like them to be his. And what they did in these ads, I'll just stay on this one because it's the nicest reproduction. It's an actual magazine in here. These really beautiful Norm Seif style, I think it was his. If anyone knows it isn't, Norm, tell me, but it sure looks like it. These pictures, really lush black and white prints. And it's like, if you want to know what Bob Fosse says about his career or whatever, brought to you by Mitsubishi. They talk about his films and all that, and talking quotes and all that. And then it says, filmmakers like Bob Fosse challenged the manufacturer to develop componentry, able to capture their art knowledge, subtlety, and nuance. And for a detailed look at the brochure, The Thinking Inside. And I do have that, The Thinking Inside brochure somewhere. I swear I know I do. So if it's been lost over the years, The Thinking Inside, Mitsubishi. Maybe it's in the back here. When we get into the back of this binder where there's all sorts of things, we're going to find all kinds of neat treasures. But what's interesting about this layout style, 86, 87, remember the first time you used a page layout program, Quark Express, whatever, and you set text in a box, and when you clicked on it, what did it do? It did this. It made it reverse. That's all the ads that did this, and this is one of the first, and I'm glad we got over it pretty quickly. But this is where it came from. You're on a screen, you're designing type, and you click on a headline, it goes in reverse box, and someone said, wait a minute, that's kind of cool. Let's actually do that. So they did. And this beautiful, delicate serif font, and we had a really beautiful serif, italic too, really add to the precision, because when you use a precise typeface, even with the italic, where there's some beauty and and nuance to it, it supports the brand of what you're saying, the nuance and the detail, supporting the arts of a TV screen. See, typography is really, really a lost art in the days of the web and social media. Everyone's doing the same thing. How many Instagram videos you watch that the type the exact same, because apparently it doesn't matter. No one can appreciate type when it's on a phone. That could be. But the point is, how do you know? Spending time with your typography and your choice to make sure it is actually bringing the essence of the brand to life in a visceral, sensual way is important, because it helps brand. It helps people say, identify. In fact, one of the things, speaking of typography and this beautiful Mitsubishi typography, is when I'm telling a client about a website, I'll tell you now too. If your website uses a mishmash of common Google fonts and web fonts, when your visitor is on your site, they feel that they're on a website, because the typography is telling them they're on a website. This is the font I usually see here. These are the kind of fonts I usually see on websites. But when you do a website where every single bit of the text is in the brand typography as much as possible, it takes a little bit of work to do that. You know what happens? The visitor doesn't feel they're on a website. They're in your world. And what does it take to do that? It takes working a little bit harder and caring a little bit more about the typography. That is a editorial soapbox issue in the middle of this presentation. Yeah, getting wilder. That campaign with the directors was really good. And then I don't have anything here, and I haven't been able to find it on television, but there was that, it's in here. The great spot that they did, and I've got a bookmark in here. Right here. Well, yeah, this is the, these were each double page spreads. What I'm looking for is the spot, and I can't find it. I've been trying to find it, and I can't find it. One that has all the great sound of movies. You know, it starts with Groucho, we have all these famous movies and all the Rosebud at the end, and it's making the point of the Mitsubishi home theater. And Chiat LA, of course, did this because this is Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen, and they did this great spot that had all that, and I can't find it anywhere online, although I'm not going to give up, and I will put it there. The other thing about Mitsubishi, I will point out here, this was also one of those original things where they're doing it to financial magazines, talking about American products. And see, Buy American. That is a provocative headline. Well, sorry, get a bad glare here. All these products. And each one talks about what it is and where it is made. In Georgia, in North Carolina, on and on and on. So they're making a point about this. And, you know, in fact, I'm going to read this to you because the writing kicks ass. Buy American. Oh, Mitsubishi, that's a Japanese company, or they say. With a name like Mitsubishi, it's a little difficult to get people to think of us as anything other than a Japanese company. Deal with the fact. Now you've got my attention and I trust you. But it doesn't stop us from trying. Okay, I think I like this. Consider the products pictured here. For example, each one was designed and manufactured in America by Americans for Americans. Wait a minute, how can this be? This is the Japanese company. All right, you've got me intrigued. Advertising. It's part of our ongoing policy of being a good corporate neighbor in this country. Political statement. One that employs over 2,000 people, purchases parts and materials from local suppliers, reinvests profits back into American operations, and does its best to strike a balance between imports and exports. This is a difficult topic with a difficult ad, with a difficult headline, and looking you right in the eye text. And as far as we're concerned, anything else would be un-American. Now, that is a killer end because you brought up a provocative topic. You've dealt with it head on. You're proud and you're saying no one's going to stop us and we're going to do the right thing, which involves people to the level of saying, I'm anti-imports, but now this company is saying they're not going away, but I think I respect what they're doing. You've just moved the needle, what advertising in this space should be doing. The last thing about Mitsubishi, and this is some of the best stuff that they did too, it was actually also done in LA, and this was stuff that, mein friend, mon ami, Martin Tonis, and Roboski worked on, which was the CD changers. And this is just fun advertising, you know, using magazines and whatnot. Denver to Berlin, get it? Down Denver, the band Berlin, CDs, and then the famous rock and roll 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 and roll. The idea that you could put lots of tapes in that thing and play it, which was an interesting idea because that machine that you could actually put a bunch of audio cassettes in and work was probably around for what, a year, and then everything was CDs, and everyone said, ridiculous, this is go to CDs. And then we all got used to harsh, brittle sounds that ruined probably a lot of people's ears. But those were great print ads, and they won awards because they're very simple. They had great headlines, just advertising Chiat perfection. The Denver to Berlin, that was a different team, though, of course. No, that wasn't. No, they did both of them. I have a credit on the top of the thing related to something else. So Mitsubishi, like Apple, Mitsubishi represented technology, essentially. Technology for something very traditional, listening to music and watching television. The thinking that brought to Mitsubishi for the screens kind of shows up in Apple talking about the quality of the iPhone or a Mac or an iPad screen, you know, the pixel rate or the Super Retina or whatever they call it, you know, the latest whiz-bang technology that makes things look better, and you can tell every pixel is outlined in black to give it sharper, whatever. People like to hear that. It's just magic. But that idea, how do you communicate technology? Well, what Chiat has always done, they either found a fun way to talk about technology, going back to the very beginning, a fun way, using puns or smart-ass attitude to get you thinking about technology in a more human way, or going into the emotion of how a human being relates to the technology. For instance, in the metaverse right now, everyone's like, it's going to be great, it's going to be great, it's going to be great, we're all going to make money, oh, NFT, we're all going to make, oh, it's going to be great, it's going to be great, oh, it's going to change everything, it's going to change everything. But as of the moment I'm making this video, there's almost nothing in the metaverse that you can't currently do just as well in Web 2.0 where we are now, with emails and websites and text and all of that. Well, we'll get there, of course, we'll get there. But the point is, even right now, whatever technology you're selling, the human aspect, the actual human aspect, why would someone want to mint an NFT? Why would someone want to own an NFT, whatever? It's not even close to the actual human issues behind it, which means it's unsophisticated and it's weak and it's ordinary. Technology can be talked about and sold through the deeply human experience, whether it's Apple or Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi really was another high point in the late 80s of Chiat, of showing the craft and looking beyond the media and working with media to use the media to show the shortcomings of one media to sell to another, and then also that very deep relationship with the actual craft of movies and where we watch them. Wow, I bought Mitsubishi a console based on this campaign. It was a 35-inch, I think, or maybe it was the 40. I got the 40-inch and also it was a 35-inch console. And my God, those things weighed a ton. But at the time, it was just so much better than everything else. And now we got these paper-thin flat screens, you know, with 5K, 8K, 12K, 8,000K, a million K. And then you get older and your eyes can't tell anyway. It's like audio equipment. When you really have great ears, you don't have the money to buy the great equipment. And you get the great equipment and your ears have deteriorated. It's like, wait a minute, where did they meet? Okay, this is a very authored subject video today. But I fucking love this agency. Maybe it's loved. But the point is, this work is killer. After this, we get into a section of the binder where it was called miscellaneous. It had a lot of different accounts in here, and some that I think the work absolutely sucked. Wait till I talk about the Christian Dior campaign. Maybe I will. But what's going to come up soon is a super long historical analysis and teardown of the Nissan brand by a Chiat. Stick around. There could be blood.